The morning sun painted the sky orange above New Busan Colony. Nari walked through the wide streets toward the Galactic Youth Academy, her school bag swinging at her side. She loved mornings like this. The air smelled fresh and clean. Birds sang in the trees that lined every street. Children from different worlds played together in the parks. New Busan was home to 12 million humans. Most families had come from old Earth generations ago. They built farms and cities on this green world. They raised their children here in peace. The colony had grown into something beautiful over 50 years. Governor Huan stood on his office balcony, watching the city wake up. He felt proud when he saw families walking to school and work. Parents laughed with their children. Old people sat on benches feeding birds. This was what humanity had built among the stars. "Sir, the morning reports," said his assistant, bringing him a tablet. Juan read the numbers. Crop yields were up. Crime was almost zero. The population was growing. New babies were born every day. 4 million children lived on New Busan now. It was the largest group of human children anywhere in space. At the academy, Nari met her friends Somin, Jaewon, and Kyumin at the main gates. The school was huge. Tall white buildings reached toward the sky. Gardens filled the spaces between. Classrooms. Students from many different worlds studied here together. "Did you finish the star chart homework?" asked Somin. "Yes, but something was strange," Nari said. "I saw weird signals in the deep space data." The four friends walked into their astronomy class. Their teacher Jisoo smiled at them. She was young and kind. She made learning about space exciting for all her students. "Today we will study how to read long-range sensors," Jisoo announced to the class. Nari raised her hand. "Teacher, I found some odd readings last night. They look like ships but very far away." Jisoo looked at Nari's data on the screen. The signals were faint but clear. Something big was moving through space toward their system. "Probably just asteroids," Jisoo said. "Space is full of rocks." But Taiho and Yuna had been working on the same assignment. They showed similar readings from different sensor stations around the planet. "These readings are all the same," Taiho said. "Asteroids don't move in formation like this." Captain Minho was having his morning coffee when the sensor reports reached the Colonial Defense Force base. He read them twice. The readings showed at least 50 large objects approaching their system. They were still 3 days away, but they were definitely ships. Minho called Governor Huan right away. "Sir, we have a situation. Unknown ships are heading our way." "How many?" Huan asked. "At least 50. Maybe more. They're big." Huan felt his stomach tighten. New Busan had only 6 small defense ships. They were meant to stop pirates, not fight a real war. "Send a message to the Galactic Council," Huan ordered. "Ask if they know about these ships." The answer came back quickly. The ships belonged to the Galactic Council fleet. They were coming for a routine inspection of the colony. Captain Dong-yun commanded the human escort ship Soul's Pride. His job was to meet visiting fleets and guide them safely to New Busan. He had done this many times before, but this felt different. When the council fleet came out of hyperspace, Dong-yun's mouth fell open. There were not 50 ships. There were 300. Massive warships filled the space around his small vessel. Each one could destroy a city. "This is Captain Dong-yun of Soul's Pride," he said over the radio. "Welcome to the New Busan system." "We are Admiral Krexthul of the Council Fleet," came the cold reply. "You will guide us to your planet immediately." "May I ask the purpose of such a large inspection force?" "You may not ask questions, human. Do your job." Dong-yun felt ice in his blood. In all his years dealing with alien species, none had ever spoken to him like that. Council inspections usually brought 3 or 4 ships at most. This looked like an invasion force. On the planet's surface, people gathered to watch the ships arrive. The council fleet spread across the sky like a dark cloud. Children pointed and asked their parents why there were so many ships. At the academy, students pressed their faces against classroom windows. Some alien students seemed nervous. Others looked confused. "Why do they need so many ships just to check our files?" asked Kyu-min. Jisoo tried to stay calm, but her hands shook as she watched the ships take positions above major cities. Something was very wrong. Governor Huan tried to contact Admiral Krexthul directly. He wanted to arrange meetings and show the inspection teams around the colony. He was proud of what they had built. He wanted the council to see how well humans and aliens lived together here. But the Admiral would not speak with him. Council officers would not return his calls. The fleet just hung in space, silent and threatening. Captain Minho gathered his. "Defense Force commanders. Their 6 ships looked like toys next to the council fleet. Something is not right," he told his officers. "This is not a normal inspection. Get all ships ready for action." "Sir, we cannot fight 300 warships," said Commander Junho. "I know, but we swore to protect this colony. We will do our duty no matter what." That night, families on New Busan went to bed worried. Parents held their children a little tighter. Some people packed bags just in case. Others called relatives on other worlds to say they loved them. Nari could not sleep. She stood at her bedroom window, looking up at the alien ships. Their lights blinked like evil stars against the darkness. "Mom, why are there so many ships?" she asked. Her mother, Myung, sat on the bed and hugged her daughter. "I don't know, sweetheart, but everything will be okay." Neither of them knew that Admiral Krexthul was meeting with his fleet commanders at that very moment. They were reviewing their orders one final time. The Galactic Council had classified human children as a threat to galactic stability. Precognitive species had seen visions of human offspring growing up to challenge the Council's power. The order was simple: eliminate the threat before it could grow. The massacre would begin at dawn. The first energy beam struck the Galactic Youth Academy at exactly 7 in the morning. Nari was walking up the front steps with her friends when the sky turned white. The blast hit the main assembly hall where 800,000 children were gathering for morning announcements. The building exploded in a ball of fire and light. The shockwave threw Nari and her friends to the ground. Debris rained down around them. When Nari looked up, half the school was gone. Smoke and flames rose where her classmates had been standing moments before. "Run!" screamed Somin. More beams fell from the sky. They struck the dormitories where younger children lived. They hit the cafeteria where students ate breakfast. Each blast killed thousands of children in seconds. Nari grabbed Jaewon's hand and pulled him toward the emergency bunkers. Kyu-min was bleeding from cuts on his face. Somin helped him walk as buildings collapsed around them. The energy weapons fired without stopping. The alien ships spread across the sky, targeting every school and playground on the planet. They were not random attacks. Each shot was carefully aimed at places where children gathered. Governor Huan stood in his command center watching his world burn. Reports came in from every city. The aliens were killing children everywhere. "Sir, we need to evacuate immediately," said his security chief. "No," Huan said. "Get me a communication line to that alien admiral. This has to stop." "Sir, they won't answer our calls." "Then broadcast on all frequencies. Let the whole galaxy hear this." Huan's message went out across space. "This is Governor Huan of New Busan Colony. We are under attack by Galactic Council forces. They are targeting our children. This is murder. This is genocide. Someone must help us." Captain Minho launched his 6 defense ships to fight the alien fleet. He knew it was hopeless. His small ships could not hurt the massive warships, but he had sworn to protect the colony. He would die trying. "All ships, attack formation," Minho ordered. "Target their weapons systems. Save as many children as you can." The Soul's Pride, commanded by Captain Dong Yun, tried to escape the system. He had recorded everything on his ship's cameras. The galaxy needed to see what was happening here, but alien fighters chased him through space. "Engine room, give me everything you have," Dong Yun called. "Sir, we're already at maximum power. Enemy fire hit his ship. The hull cracked. Systems failed." But Dong Yun managed to send one final message toward Earth before his ship exploded. "This is Captain Dong Yun. New Busan is under attack. They came for our children. 3.7 million kids are dead. Remember us, avenge us." In the Academy ruins, Nari and her friends crawled through burning corridors. Bodies of children lay everywhere. Some had been her friends since childhood. Others were alien students who had come to learn alongside humans. "The emergency shelter," gasped Jaewon. "We have to reach the underground shelter." They climbed over fallen beams and broken walls. Fire burned all around them. The air was thick with smoke and ash. Behind them, more explosions shook the ground as orbital bombardment continued. Cumin found a group of younger children hiding in a classroom. They were crying and calling for their parents. The teacher was dead. The children were alone and terrified. "We can't leave them," Cumin said. "We can barely save ourselves," Soman replied. "We don't leave children behind. Never." So they gathered the little ones and led them toward the shelter. 20 children followed Nari through the burning school. Some were only 5 years old. They held hands and stayed close together. The bombardment lasted 14 hours. The alien ships took turns firing on the planet. When their weapons overheated, other ships continued the attack. They wanted to make sure every child was dead. Evacuation shuttles tried to lift off with survivors. The aliens shot them down. Hospital ships marked with medical symbols were destroyed. Even ships carrying babies were targeted and killed. Captain Minho's defense force fought until the last ship was destroyed. His vessel, the new Busan Defender, crashed into an alien cruiser before it exploded. The cruiser was damaged, but not destroyed. Governor Huan refused to abandon his people. He stayed in his command center, coordinating rescue efforts until the very end. An energy beam finally struck the government building. Huan died still trying to save his colony. In the underground shelter, Nari and her group found 200 other survivors. Most were children. A few teachers and parents had made it to safety. They huddled in the darkness, listening to explosions above their heads. "Why are they doing this?" asked a little girl named Yura. Nari held the child close. "I don't know. But we're going to survive. We're going to live." The shelter's communication system still worked. They could hear radio messages from around the planet. Cities were burning. Millions of people were dead. The alien fleet was being very thorough. "They're targeting the evacuation centers now," reported a voice from across the planet. "Anyone trying to escape is being killed." One of the teachers, an elderly man named Wonshik, gathered the children around him. "Listen to me," he said quietly. "We are going to stay here for a long time. We have food and water for weeks. We will survive this, and someday, we will tell the galaxy what happened here." Above ground, the planet was dying. 12 million people had lived on New Busan that morning. By nightfall, only scattered groups of survivors remained hidden in bunkers and caves. The alien ships stopped firing when there was nothing left to destroy. Cities lay in ruins. Schools were ash. Playgrounds were craters. The beautiful world that humanity had built was gone. Admiral Krex Thul surveyed the destruction from his flagship. His orders had been carried out perfectly. The human children were dead. The threat to galactic stability was eliminated. "Begin landing operations," he commanded. "Search for any survivors. Kill them." Alien soldiers descended to the planet's surface. They wore heavy armor and carried powerful weapons. Their job was to find anyone still alive and finish them off, but the soldiers did not know about the deep shelters. They did not find the hidden bunkers where small groups of humans waited in the darkness. In the academy shelter, Nari held little Yura while the child slept. Around them, other children whispered prayers and cried softly for their parents. "Someday they will pay for this," Nari whispered. "I promise you, they will pay." Above their heads, alien boots walked through the ashes of their school. The soldiers searched for survivors to kill. They would keep searching for weeks, but Nari and her friends would wait. They would survive, and they would remember everything. The galaxy had just made the worst mistake in its history. It had killed human children. Soon, humanity would show every species in space why that was unforgivable. Captain Dongyun's final message reached Earth 3 days later. The recording played on every screen across the planet. Billions of humans watched the footage of their children burning. They saw the alien ships firing on schools and hospitals. They heard the screams of the innocent. President Sunwoo sat in his office, watching the transmission for the 10th time. His hands shook with rage. His own grandchildren lived on New Busan. They were among the dead. "How many?" he asked his aide. 3.7 million children confirmed dead, sir. 2 million adults. The entire colony is gone. Sunwoo stood and walked to his window. Outside, crowds filled the streets of Seoul. People held pictures of their dead relatives. They cried and shouted for justice. Some demanded immediate war against the Galactic Council. "Schedule an emergency session of the Global Assembly," Sunwoo ordered. "Every human world needs to see this." 2 hours later, leaders from 200 human colonies watched President Sunwoo address them. Behind him, footage from New Busan played on giant screens. The images of dead children filled the hall. "Fellow humans," Sunwoo began, his voice cold as ice, "the galaxy has shown us who we really are to them. We are nothing. Our children are nothing. They can kill us whenever they choose." The hall was silent, except for quiet sobbing from some delegates. "But they have made one mistake," Sunwoo continued. "They think we are weak. They think we will accept this. They are wrong." In a secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Hyunwoo stood before a massive blast door. Few people knew this place existed. Fewer still knew what lay behind the sealed entrance. "Open fire protocol," he commanded. The door slowly opened, revealing a vast underground complex. Thousands of workers moved between assembly lines. Giant machines built weapons that humanity was never supposed to possess. Starships designed for war waited in hidden hangars. Dr. Yoonji led President Sunwoo through the facility. She had spent 15 years preparing for this day. She hoped it would never come. But she had known that someday humanity might need to fight for its survival. "We call them planet crackers," she explained, showing Sunwoo a massive kinetic weapon. "One shot can split a world in half. We have built 3,000 of them." "How long have you been working on this?" Sunwoo asked. "Since the day humans first met aliens. Some of us knew this day might come. We prepared." Engineer Jongho showed them the warships. Each one was twice the size of anything in the Galactic Council fleet. They carried weapons that could destroy entire star systems. "The Fury-class battleships," Jongho said proudly. "We've built them in asteroid fields where no aliens could see. 50,000 ships ready for war." 50,000? Sunwoo could hardly believe it. "Sir, we've been building for decades. Every human world contributed. Every family sent money and materials. They thought they were funding mining operations and research stations." President Sunwoo realized that humanity had been quietly preparing for war while the galaxy thought they were peaceful farmers and traders. On New Busan, Nari and her friends had been hiding underground for 30 days. The alien soldiers still searched for survivors above ground. But the children had learned to be very quiet and careful. At night, they would sneak out to gather supplies from the ruins. They found weapons left by dead human soldiers. They learned to use them. They planned their revenge. "We can't hide forever," Nari told the group. "We need to fight back." Somin was cleaning an energy rifle she had found. "There are only 200 of us. They have thousands of soldiers. Then we make them pay for every step, said J1. We make them afraid to walk in our ruins. The children began planning attacks on alien patrols. They were smart, and they knew the colony better than the invaders. They could strike and disappear, like ghosts. Cumin had found an old communication system in the shelter. He worked for days to repair it. When it finally worked, they could send secret messages to other survivors hiding across the planet. "This is the new Busan resistance," Nari broadcast. "We are the children they tried to kill. We are still here. We are still fighting." Other groups responded. There were survivors in 12 different locations. Hundreds of people were still alive, hiding and fighting. The messages reached hidden transmitters that sent them into space. Other human colonies heard the voices of the new Busan children. The recordings spread across human space like wildfire. On Earth, people heard Nari's voice. "They killed our parents. They killed our friends. But they did not kill us all. We will remember. We will survive. And someday, we will make them pay." The recordings made humans everywhere even angrier. Children were speaking from the ruins of their world, surrounded by death, but still refusing to surrender. High Counselor Vextar sat in his great hall on the council capital world. He read reports about human anger and threats of war. He was not worried. "Humans have 600 small ships," he told his advisors. "We have 10,000 warships. They are farmers and merchants. We are warriors who have ruled the galaxy for 1,000,000 years. But, sir, their population is large. 400 billion humans live across 200 worlds. Population means nothing without weapons. Let them be angry. What can they do to us?" Vextar had no idea that humanity was about to show him exactly what they could do. On Earth, Admiral Wu Jin stood before the largest fleet ever assembled by any species. 50,000 warships filled the space around Luna. Each ship carried crews who had volunteered to fight. Each crew had lost family on New Busan. "Today we begin the human war for justice," Wu Jin announced to his fleet. "We will not stop until every species that participated in the massacre has paid the price." The first target was the Vorthak homeworld. Admiral Krexthul's people would be the first to learn what human anger could accomplish. President Sunwoo addressed the galaxy one final time before the war began. "To every species in the Galactic Council, you killed our children. You thought we would accept this crime and move on. You were wrong. We are coming for you, all of you, and we will not stop until justice is done." The message ended with footage from New Busan. Images of dead children filled screens across 1,000 worlds. Then came new images, human warships, filling space like a storm cloud. The galaxy was about to learn why you never, ever hurt human children. In her underground shelter, Nari heard the message from Earth. She smiled for the first time in 30 days. "Did you hear that?" she asked her friends. "They're coming. Our people are coming." Above them, alien soldiers continued searching the ruins. But their time was running out. Humanity was awake. Humanity was angry, and humanity was coming with fire in hand. 1 year after the massacre, Admiral Wu Jin's fleet arrived at the Vorthak homeworld. 50,000 human warships dropped out of hyperspace around the planet like an avenging army. The Vorthak defense fleet tried to respond, but they had only 300 ships. "This is Admiral Wu Jin of the Human Retribution Fleet," he broadcast. "You killed our children. Today, you pay." Captain Sang-hoon commanded the battleship Children's Vengeance. His own daughter had died on New Busan. As his weapons charged, he began reading names over the radio. For Min Seo, age 6. For Do Hyun, age 8. For Chae-young, age 5. With each name, his ship's massive guns fired. Energy beams struck the planet's surface. Cities began to burn. For Ji-won, age 7. For Sung-hoon, age 9. For Yejin, age 4. The name reading continued for hours. Every dead child from New Busan was remembered as the human fleet destroyed the Vorthak homeworld. 3 billion aliens died that day. The planet cracked in half when the planet crackers fired. Admiral Krex Thule died in his command bunker, listening. To human voices speak the names of murdered children. His last thought was that humanity had become something terrible. News of the Vorthak destruction spread across the galaxy in days. Species that had supported the massacre began to panic. Humans were supposed to be peaceful. They were farmers and traders, not warriors. But the footage from the Vorthak system showed the truth. Humanity had built a war machine that could destroy entire civilizations, and they were using it. On New Busan, Nari was now 17 years old. She had spent a year leading the resistance against alien occupation forces. The children had grown into fighters. They knew every tunnel and hiding spot on their ruined world. A rescue fleet finally arrived to liberate the survivors. When Nari saw human ships landing, she cried for the first time since the massacre. They had survived. They were going home. "How many are left?" asked the rescue commander. 237, Nari replied. "We started with more, but the aliens kept hunting us. You did well. You kept them busy while we prepared for war." Nari was taken to Earth for medical treatment and debriefing. Military leaders wanted to hear everything she had learned about alien tactics and psychology. Her time in the Galactic Youth Academy made her an expert on how different species thought. "The Zephyrians are cowards," she told General Hyunwoo. "They will surrender if you destroy one of their colony ships. The hegemony species only respect strength. You have to hit them harder than they hit you." Her knowledge helped plan psychological warfare campaigns. Humans learned exactly how to terrify each species that had participated in the massacre. Commander Min Seok led Operation Broken Crib, the largest military action in galactic history. 200 human fleets attacked 200 different worlds at exactly the same moment. Every species that had supported the killing of human children faced destruction. The attacks were perfectly coordinated. Human ships appeared over alien homeworlds, colonies, and military bases all at once. The aliens had no time to prepare or coordinate their defenses. On the crystalline Union homeworld, human forces broadcast images of dead children before opening fire. The crystal beings tried to surrender, but the humans ignored them. That world burned for 3 days. The Hive Collective's queen ships were destroyed one by one. Each time a queen died, millions of worker drones across the galaxy felt the psychic scream. The collective begged for mercy. They received none. The Machine Brotherhood's central processing cores were infected with viruses that made their computers display pictures of murdered human children. As their systems crashed, the machines finally understood what emotion meant. President Sunwoo established field headquarters on a captured council world. He met with the military commanders planning the next phase of the war. "How many species have surrendered?" he asked. 47 so far, reported Admiral Woo Jin. "They're offering tribute and hostages. Some want to join us against the remaining council forces." "No deals," Sunwoo said coldly. "They had their chance to be peaceful. They chose to kill children instead." General Hyunwoo showed him the tactical displays. Red dots marked worlds under attack. Blue dots showed conquered systems. Nearly half the galaxy was now under human control. "The Council is rallying their remaining forces at Nexus Prime," Hyunwoo reported. "High Counselor Vexitar is calling it the final stand for galactic order." "Good. We'll end this where it began." Dr. Yoonji's planet crackers had proven devastatingly effective. Entire star systems surrendered rather than face the weapons that could destroy worlds. Some species evacuated their homeworlds and fled to unknown regions of space. But not all aliens supported the massacre. Several species had refused to participate in the attack on New Busan. These allies now fought alongside human forces against the Council. The Gentle Ones, a species of plant-like beings, offered their worlds as bases for human fleets. They had always opposed violence against children of any species. The Wanderer clans, nomadic traders who lived on great ships, provided intelligence about Council fleet movements. They remembered every kindness humans had shown them over the years. Even some former enemies changed sides when they saw what humanity could do. The warrior houses of Zarion pledged their sword ships to the human cause after witnessing the destruction of 3 Council fleets. Nari, now holding the rank of tactical advisor, worked with these alien allies. Her job was to coordinate joint operations and make sure the aliens understood human military doctrine. "We don't take prisoners from species that killed our children," she explained to a Gentle One commander. "But we protect those who protect children. This is our way now." The war had changed humanity. They were no longer the peaceful farmers and traders who had once sought friendship with all species. They had become something harder, colder, more focused. Children in human schools now learned military tactics alongside mathematics. Every colony trained citizen militias. No human world would ever again be defenseless. The galaxy watched in terror as human fleets swept through system after system. Ancient civilizations that had ruled for millions of years fell in weeks. The Council's 1,000-year empire was crumbling. High Counselor Vextar tried one last diplomatic effort. He sent a message to President Sunwoo offering terms for peace. "Humanity has proven its strength," the message said. "The Council acknowledges your power. Let us negotiate an end to this destruction." Sunwoo's reply was broadcast across the galaxy. "You offered no negotiation to our children. You will receive none from us." The final battle was coming. Every surviving Council species was gathering at Nexus Prime for one last stand. They had 10,000 ships and the strongest defenses in the galaxy. Humanity was bringing 50,000 warships and the absolute determination to see justice done. Admiral Wu Jin stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching his fleet prepare for the final assault. Around him, crews that had lost family on New Busan made ready their weapons. "Signal the fleet," he ordered. "Today we finish what they started." The battle for Nexus Prime would decide the fate of the galaxy. Either the Council would destroy humanity's war machine, or humanity would become the galaxy's new rulers. Nari checked her tactical displays one more time. In a few hours, the shooting would begin. She thought about her friends who had died in the academy. She thought about little Yura and the other children they had saved. "This is for you," she whispered to the memory of the dead. "This is for all of you." The Battle of Nexus Prime lasted 18 hours. Human ships surrounded the Council's capital world like a metal storm. Every species that had participated in the New Busan massacre was there, fighting for their survival. High Counselor Vextar watched from his command center as human fleets tore through his defenses. The Council had 10,000 ships, but humanity's 50,000 vessels were newer, faster, and crewed by people with nothing left to lose. "Sir, they're breaking through the outer ring," reported his tactical officer. "Impossible. Those defenses have protected Nexus Prime for 1,000 years. They're using weapons we've never seen before. Our shields can't stop them." Vexatar had ruled the galaxy for 2 centuries. He had destroyed rebellions and conquered species without mercy. But he had never faced an enemy like humanity. These were not warriors fighting for territory or resources. These were parents avenging their children. Admiral Wu Jin commanded the assault from his flagship. Around him, tactical displays showed the battle's progress. Human ships were taking losses, but they kept advancing. Nothing could stop them now. "Admiral, the planet's surface defenses are targeting our landing craft," reported Captain Sang-hoon. "Then, remove the surface defenses!" Planet crackers fired from a dozen human ships. The massive kinetic weapons struck Nexus Prime's military installations. Defense towers that had stood for millennia crumbled into dust. Nari, now promoted to Admiral, at age 20, led the assault on the Council chambers. Her ship, the new Busan's revenge, landed in the capital city with 5,000 human Marines. The aliens had built Nexus Prime to impress visitors. Huge towers reached toward the sky. Gardens and fountains decorated every plaza. It was meant to show the galaxy how powerful and civilized the Council was. Human soldiers moved through the burning streets, showing no mercy to defenders. These were the same species that had killed children. The Marines remembered every lesson learned from the footage of the massacre. "Sweep every building," Nari ordered. "No Council member escapes." The fighting was fierce but brief. Council forces had never faced soldiers motivated by pure rage. Human Marines fought like demons, caring nothing for their own safety. They only wanted justice for dead children. High Counselor Vexitar barricaded himself in the Great Council chambers, with his remaining guards. These halls had seen the rise and fall of 1,000 civilizations. Every major decision affecting the galaxy had been made here. Admiral Wu Jin entered the chambers flanked by Nari and a squad of Marines. The Great Hall was empty, except for Vextar and a few terrified advisors. The alien leader sat on his throne, trying to maintain dignity in defeat. "So," Vextar said, "the farmers and merchants have become conquerors." "You made us this way," Wu Jin replied. "You killed our children. Your children were a threat to galactic stability. Our precognitive species saw visions of human offspring overthrowing the natural order. Then your precognitive species were right. Your children are dead. Our children will rule the galaxy." Nari stepped forward, her weapon aimed at Vextar's head. "Do you remember Admiral Krexthul?" "Yes. He carried out necessary orders. He's dead. His entire species is extinct. Every alien who participated in the massacre is dead or enslaved." "And what of those who refused to participate? What of the innocent species who opposed the attack?" Admiral Wu Jin smiled coldly. "They will serve humanity well, as will those who surrender completely and accept human rule." The terms were simple. Every species in the galaxy would submit to human authority or face extinction. The Galactic Council was dissolved. In its place, President Sunwoo established the human galactic hegemony. The new government's first law was absolute. Any threat to human children anywhere in the galaxy would be considered an act of war against the entire human race. Species that had opposed the massacre were given protected status under human rule. The gentle ones became the hegemony's agricultural specialists. The Wanderer clans carried human trade goods across the galaxy. The warrior houses of Zarion served as human auxiliaries. Species that had participated in the massacre faced different fates. Some were enslaved. Others were relocated to isolated worlds under human supervision. A few were allowed to live freely, but only after proving their loyalty through decades of service. Dr. Yunji led massive terraforming projects to restore worlds damaged in the war. New technology, developed from captured alien science, could rebuild entire ecosystems in years instead of centuries. General Hyunwoo established the Human Defense Force, ensuring that no species would ever again possess weapons capable of threatening humanity. Alien military technology was studied, copied, and then destroyed. On New Busan, reconstruction began immediately. The colony was rebuilt as a monument to human determination, but it was also a warning to any species that might forget the lessons. Of the war, Jisoo, the former teacher who had survived the massacre in a deep bunker, became director of the Memorial Academy. The new school was built on the exact spot where the old academy had stood. Children from across the galaxy came to study there, but under very different rules than before. Human children learned alongside young aliens, but everyone understood who was in charge. The memorial wall contained 3.7 million names, every child who had died in the massacre. Students were required to read the names aloud during morning assembly. No one was allowed to forget why humanity ruled the galaxy. President Sunwoo, now elderly but still sharp, visited the academy for its dedication ceremony. He stood before the memorial wall, remembering his own grandchildren whose names were carved in the stone. "These children died because the galaxy thought we were weak," he told the assembled students. "They died because aliens believed human life had no value. They were wrong." Nari, who had become the youngest general in human history, was chosen to give the closing address. She looked out at the mixed crowd of human and alien children. "You study together in peace because humanity fought a war," she said. "You learn together safely because we proved that killing human children has consequences. Remember that. Remember why we rule the stars." She paused, looking at the memorial wall behind her. "We didn't conquer the galaxy because we wanted to be rulers. We conquered it because the galaxy made us. When they killed our children, they created something they couldn't control. They created an empire that will protect human children forever." The ceremony ended with a moment of silence for the dead. Then the children, human and alien alike, returned to their classes. They would learn mathematics and science and history, but they would also learn the most important lesson of all: never threaten human children. In his office overlooking the rebuilt colony, Governor Minyoung, Hwan's successor, read reports from across the galaxy. Human fleets patrolled every system. Human administrators managed every major world. Human law governed every species. It had been 5 years since the war ended. The galaxy was peaceful now, but it was the peace of absolute human supremacy. No species dared to challenge human authority. No one wanted to risk another war like the one that had destroyed the Council. The former High Counselor Vextar lived in exile on a prison world, writing his memoirs. His book would be titled, "How We Created Our Own Destroyers." It told the story of how the galaxy's most powerful empire had fallen because it underestimated human love for their children. In the final chapter, he wrote, "We thought they were weak because they preferred peace. We thought they were simple because they wanted friendship. We thought they were harmless because they avoided conflict. We were wrong about everything. We created monsters and then we called them evil for becoming what we made them." Nari stood on the Academy's observation deck, watching ships come and go from the spaceport. Human vessels carried trade goods to alien worlds. Alien ships brought tribute to human administrators. The galaxy worked for humanity now. A young student approached her, a human girl about the same age Nari had been during the massacre. "Admiral, why do the aliens seem so scared of us?" Nari looked down at the child's innocent face. This girl had been born after the war. She had never known a galaxy where humans were not the dominant species. "Because they learned what happens when you hurt human children," Nari replied, "and they never want to learn that lesson again." The girl nodded and returned to her friends. They were playing a game that mixed human and alien children together. They laughed and ran together without fear. That was the real victory, Nari thought. Not the conquered worlds or the enslaved species or the tribute flowing to human colonies. The real victory was that human children could play safely anywhere in the galaxy. The price had been terrible. Billions had died in the war. Entire civilizations had been destroyed. The galaxy would never be the same. But humanity had kept its promise. They had avenged their murdered children. And they had ensured that no human child would ever again die because aliens thought they were expendable. The galaxy had learned to fear humanity. More importantly, it had learned to respect human children, and that respect was enforced by 50,000 warships and the absolute determination to use them if necessary.